Before I moved in with him, he told me that he used to be a transvestite. You have to bear in mind that this was 20 years ago. So this was before the explosion of gender ideology. I said, well, what do you mean used to be? And he said, well, I haven't done it since I met you. And that was the start of an ongoing process of binging and purging, boundary negotiation, boundary violation, like going up a staircase where the bottom of the staircase was that conversation where he said I used to be a transvestite, and the top of the staircase was him deciding that he was going to transition. At first, because I was young and quite naive, I thought it was something that I might be able to deal with. And I don't mean transition would be something that I might be able to deal with, because that wasn't on my radar. An occasional cross-dressing hobby might have been something that I could deal with, because I can remember thinking, well, you know, there's worse hobbies. He could be gambling. At first I thought, okay, I loved him and I was in love with him. And this was introduced to me as something that I used to do. And it was presented to me then as that he wasn't doing it anymore. But then, of course, he started doing it again.
Sondern wie ich dann, als ich dann weiter auf seinem Handy herumstöberte, herausfand, dass er selbst Damenunterwäsche für sich selbst bestellte und Perücken und Schuhe und verschiedener Art. Als ich ihn dann darauf ansprach und fragte, was das alles sollte, ja, sagte er mir, dass er keine Affäre hätte, sondern er würde diese Sachen selbst tragen. Und als ich das hörte, ja, wurde mir schlecht. Auch wenn ich jetzt weiß, dass er das Geheimnis hat, habe ich mich dazu entschlossen, bei ihm zu bleiben, gemeinsam irgendwie durchzustehen, weil ich irgendwie denke, dass so eine komische sexuelle Neigung nicht vom Himmel fällt und ja auch irgendwie interessiert daran bin, ob man das nicht irgendwie, ja, ich will jetzt nicht sagen heilen kann, aber irgendwie lernen kann, damit umzugehen. Ich finde, wir haben 2 gemeinsame Kinder, wir müssen irgendwie damit klarkommen. Das ganze Trans-Thema ist hier in Deutschland und das ist im Moment hier ein immer größer werdendes Thema. Und diese Leute sitzen im Fernsehen oder sonst wo und dürfen ihre Geschichte erzählen. Was aber völlig hinten runterfällt, muss man sagen, sind die Partner. Für diese Geschichten interessiert sich niemand, weil es eben gerade politisch nicht korrekt ist, darüber zu reden. Deswegen schweigen wir alle, wir Frauen, darüber und gar nicht mehr so einfach ist, dass dann dadurch die Frau in die Rechtfertigung kommt, zu erklären, warum sie nicht mehr in der Ehe bleiben will. Nicht der Mann erklären muss, warum er eine Frau ist, plötzlich nach x Jahren Ehe, oder da wird die Position der Frau doch sehr stark nach hinten gedrängt. Das wird doch da sehr deutlich.
I went to check my Facebook page one night and I used his laptop that was in the living room, and I went to get on my account and I noticed that an account was already open and it had a female profile and a female name. I looked a little closer and realized that it was his account. He was talking about our sex life and how boring it was and asking them to describe what they're wearing, their underwear, and then talking about how aroused he was. Well, after I found his Facebook page, I went and I searched through the house, specifically the room that he had his computer in, because I thought there's no way there's nothing. And where I thought there were spare computer parts and what have you, I started pulling out lingerie, clothes, shoes, sex toys. It was a sizable pile, and I had no idea that it was there. It was really offensive too. I'm looking at this pile of things and I'm thinking, this is what you think a woman is? When did he do all this while we were married? Was it after I went to bed, a day after taking care of babies and doing housework, while he sat down there doing what I thought was his schoolwork? All those times he could have helped, or he could have been a parent, or he could have been a father. And instead, this is what he chose to do. And then he turns around and blames me and the rest of the world for being closed-minded and ignorant. I didn't tell anyone. How could I? I mean, I don't know if I knew that people were transgender when I was that age, but I didn't know that they got married and they lived a secret life. And I didn't tell his parents. And then it turns out these people knew and they did not tell me. I mean, I thought they were on my side and I thought they would see the things that were happening to me and the children and be at least sympathetic or at least try to help us also. It felt like this great cosmic joke after a while. His friends knew, his family knew. The only person that didn't know was me.
私は元夫と初めて会ったとき、職場でいじめとパワハラにあって疲れ果てていました。誰にも頼れず孤独でした。孤独は思考回路をおかしくするのは間違いありません。お互い家庭で辛い思いをしていたこともあって、逃げるように一緒に住むことになりました。また、元夫にとって東京に来たかったのは、ジェンダークリニックに通いやすくするためでした。心は女だから、女同士として恋人になって、とも言われました。ある朝、私は元夫に男性器でレイプされました。コンドームもなしでした。目が覚めた私が、何をしているのと聞いたら、私のことを使って G をしているというのが答えで、そこからレイプしてきました。元夫といた間、私はうつ状態でした。この人に捨てられたら死んでしまうと思い込むことによって、異常なことも我慢して、そして搾取されていました。そのため、私は心を深く病んで、会社にいても気絶するようになり、普通に生活することもできなくなりました。私はお金を失い、体にも異常が出て、うまく体が食事を受け付けない状態になりました。元夫は、お人よしで気前のいい人につけ込んで、自分の利益だけを考えて生きている人だったんです。私はそのことに気づきませんでした。思い返すと、私は当初ヒーローになった気分でした。私は元夫が夢を叶えるための財布と踏み台でした。よく戦った私、今はほとんど動けません。東京で一人暮らしの女性は、ジェンダークリニックに通うために近づく地方のトランスがいるから気をつけてください。自分自身の財産と生活を守れないのに、他人の踏み台になろうとしては絶対にダメです。男に振り回されて生きる必要なんてありません。
Initially, he said to me, "Oh, the children will have to know that they now have two mothers." And then I just looked at him and he said, "Oh, maybe you wouldn't want that." So I would say, if you're now a woman, are you going to do the washing up? Are you going to wash the clothes? Are you going to vacuum the floor? Are you going to stay up all night when the babies are crying? Are you going to be the ones to make sure they have the right packed lunch for school and do all of those things? No, it's all about the sex and all about wearing nail polish. I did discover that he is a porn addict. I do know that the sex and kink is definitely a big part of it. When I asked him, how do you know? How do you know you're transgender? When did you start to feel this way? And the only thing he said to me was, when he was a teenager, he would imagine himself as a girl in a lesbian relationship. And that's the only thing he ever said about it. It seems to me that there's a very clever and influential group of men who are controlling the narrative. So people are unaware of the abuse that goes with the territory. Even so, they still have to realize that this is going to be upsetting for wives and children, and that those people deserve support. And I find it extraordinary that there's so much upheaval in society to accommodate what I've been told is less than 0.4% of the population. You cannot turn them back from this once they've started. Once you allow for one little thing, like they're going to maybe wear women's underwear when they're in the house, it's only going to get worse from there. And don't be embarrassed, because the embarrassment is not yours. Perhaps because it is a women's issue, it just hasn't come to the attention. They just haven't prioritized it. But really, society is moving so fast on the trans issue that the mosques need to keep up. And it's not just within the mosque itself, but outside of the mosque, where there have been services set up for Muslim women. Male-bodied people are now entering those spaces. Does that mean then that those religious women are then just forced back into their homes? I don't know what the way forward is. I suppose the more people that come forward with their story, the more these authorities have to realize this is something that is affecting our communities, just as it affects other communities.